shows, Jerusalem has for centuries been a symbol, surrounded in people's minds with an aura of associations that have made it sacred. They found their God in the holy city, and it thus became inseparable from their deepest selves. People have always experienced God not simply as a transcendent reality out there, but also in the ground of their being. When Jerusalem was threatened, they felt personally attacked. When its sanctity was violated, they experienced this as a rape. Today, everybody feels threatened. Everybody is in danger. Everybody is on high alert in the expectation of a terrorist attack. As a result, Jerusalem has become more sacred to their identity than ever before. This book traces the explosive history of Jerusalem and the atrocities that have been committed in its name. But it also shows that for centuries Jews, Christians and Muslims were able to live amicably together there. Peaceful coexistence in the holy city is not an impossible dream. If Jerusalem has become the symbolic heart of the conflict that now threatens the whole world, a solution is a matter of the highest importance. It will require imagination and commitment to find a solution to the problem of Jerusalem. Everybody will have to make sacrifices. Everybody will have to compromise in the interests of peace. But people were able to share the holy city once, and they can therefore do it again.
Introduction. In Jerusalem, more than in any other place I have visited, history is a dimension of the present. Perhaps this is so in any disputed territory, but it struck me forcibly the first time I went to work in Jerusalem in 1983. First, I was surprised by the strength of my own reaction to the city. It was strange to be walking around a place that had been an imaginative reality in my life ever since I was a small child and had been told tales of King David or Jesus. As a young nun, I was taught to begin my morning meditation by picturing the biblical scene I was about to contemplate, and so conjured up my own image of the Garden of Gethsemane, the Mount of Olives, or the Via Dolorosa. Now that I was going about my daily business among these very sights, I discovered that the real city was a far more tumultuous and confusing place. I had, for example, to take in the fact that Jerusalem was clearly very important to Jews and Muslims too. When I saw Kaftan Jews or tough Israeli soldiers kissing the stones of the Western Wall, or watched the crowds of Muslim families surging through the streets in their best clothes for Friday prayers at the Haram al-Sharif, I became aware for the first time of the challenge of religious pluralism. People could see the same symbol in entirely different ways. There was no doubting the attachment of any of these people to their holy city, yet they had been quite absent from my Jerusalem. Still, the city remained mine as well. My old images of biblical scenes were a constant counterpoint to my first-hand experience of 20th century Jerusalem. Associated with some of the most momentous events of my life, Jerusalem was somehow built into my own identity. Yet, as a British citizen, I had no political claim to the city, unlike my new colleagues and friends in Jerusalem. Here again, as Israelis and Palestinians presented their arguments to me, I was struck by the vivid immediacy of past events. All could cite, in sometimes minute detail, the events leading up to the creation of the State of Israel in 1948, or the Six-Day War in 1967. Frequently I noted how these depictions of the past centered on the question of who had done what first. Who had been the first to resort to violence, the Zionists or the Arabs? Who had first noticed the potential of Palestine and developed the country? Who had lived in Jerusalem first, the Jews or the Palestinians? When they discussed the troubled present, both Israelis and Palestinians turned instinctively to the past, their polemic coursing easily from the Bronze Age.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.